While it took its sweet time, Lucifer Season 5B has been out on Netflix for a while now, and fans are still breaking down all that happened in it, from the twists, the turns, the shocking ending, and of course trying to figure out how things will go in the final season. And this time we mean the final season, no takebacks. Naturally, there's already been a lot of speculation about what could happen, what should happen, and what will happen. So with all of that swimming around, allow us to show you Lucifer Season 6 leaked and everything we know so far. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Number 5. How Season 5B went down. Before we dive into the various predictions, we need to further explain what happened with Season 5B. Because originally, that was supposed to be the end. They even did more episodes to ensure that they got the ability to end the story in a good way. But as they were writing the finale for Season 5B, they got word that Season 6 was a go if they were up for it. As Tom Ellis noted, that doesn't mean the next story is forced, it's just evolved. I don't want people to assume that what they see on the screen now would have been the end of Lucifer, because it wouldn't have been. We changed it and adapted it to roll with the punches, as it were. We were on the right path and on the right journey. We just needed to find a way to do what I liken to roadworks in London, where you're on your route and at the very last minute there's a sign that says, "Road closed, diversion," and it takes you on this little diversion and gets you back to where you needed to be. We needed to find that diversion for Season 6. We found it, and I think we fully justified it as well. But as co-showrunner Joe Henderson also explained, as much as we say Act 6 became Season 6, it also undersells Season 6 because we discovered a ton more story. There's a bunch of stuff we weren't going to tell that now we can't imagine not telling. And it's one of those things we realized. We thought, when we got to the end of Season 5, we told all the story we wanted to tell. And it wasn't until we got to the end of Season 5 that we had the perspective to see the story that we could tell with Season 6. Like, it's just one of those happy accidents where you're like, no, we've told all the story. This is going to be all of the story we ever want to tell. But then you get there and the characters are telling us, no, we've got one more journey to go on. The showrunners even noted that the reason they went the 10-episode path for Season 6 was because they didn't want to overstay their welcome and ensure that the story they told was good and meaningful for all involved. So yeah, they pivoted to extend the story, and by their own accounts, it worked well, because now they get to tell the story of Lucifer in the role of God. Yeah, that's a thing, and it's gonna happen in Season 6. Number 4. Lucifer fixing things. Lucifer becoming God himself, or at the very least being Lucifer with God's powers, was a twist no one saw coming. But the question now is, what comes next for him? The answer is that he has plans because of the loss of Dan. As of right now, Dan remains dead and in hell, a fact which is one of Lucifer's motivations for wanting to become God and take control over the system. That's not right, at least in Lucifer's mind, and that was a really important piece of the story that we wanted to tell. That Lucifer senses that the world isn't just. He always felt that about himself. Now it can be represented in someone else, and that was an important thing for us to tell, Henderson said. But that's the rub right there, because while Lucifer may think he knows the better path to justice, does he actually? Granted, he's done good over the years, but as he said to Linda, "I'm still the devil, love." And as a key phrase goes, the path to you-know-where is paved with good intentions. So how it all goes down is a bit of a mystery, and you can bet that things are going to get a bit chaotic as Lucifer tries to figure everything and everyone out. Number 3. New characters. While speaking to TV Line about Lucifer's latest developments, co-showrunners Ildi Modrovich and Joe Henderson supplied some fresh teases about what's to come in Season 6. Despite this season being the end, there will be at least one new character introduced in the next episodes. When asked if Season 6 has allowed them the chance to bring in a character they initially thought would be left on the cutting room floor, Henderson had this to say, "Oh, that's a good one. There's a new character in 6 that was not going to be a part of Season 5, a whole new character." So far, 2 new characters have been officially announced for Lucifer Season 6. Brianna Hildebrand's rebellious angel Rory, and Marin Dungy's Sonia, a uniformed cop who forms a bond with Amenadiel, DB Woodside. It's not overtly odd that new characters would come with the final season, especially given the new location that we're going to likely be seeing more of via Heaven. Plus, with Amenadiel getting a new position via being a cop, things need to change and adapt to the situation. So yeah, we'll have to see how these characters fit into the story. And what a story it's going to be, apparently. Number 2. A season about characters. The showrunners have noted that the pandemic situation and their very last-minute Season 6 renewal came with a change in how they were going to shoot things for the final season. Season 6, partly because of COVID, became a much more intimate season, but also because we knew we had done this kind of splashy Season 5B with a lot of spectacle, we didn't want to try to top ourselves and just be empty action. So we found the more intimate story for all of our characters and a much more emotional one. We didn't have to scrape to find stories for anybody. We just kind of dug to a deeper level with everybody. Henderson added, "Yeah, and though it's by far probably the most intimate season we've done, it also has the most expensive episode we've ever made. So we've still got plenty of spectacle." But while the spectacle is always appreciated, it's clear that they wanted to make sure that things for the final season were really about the characters and how things will go down with them as their own countdown clock of sorts happens. What's more, with 10 being the definitive number of episodes left, that means they had to focus hard to make sure everyone got their due. So first, what happened is they called us up. They're like, "Can you do a Season 6? Do you have a story for Season 6? And we basically said, "We'll only do it if we find a story worthy." And Ildi and I talked a bunch, and we got the room together, and we all talked. And then we found a story, but it felt like 10 episodes. Sometimes you just get a sense of things. You're like, there's a certain amount of story to be told with a certain engine. We wanted to make sure that Season 6 was tight and strong and focused, and 10 felt like the exact right number of episodes to let us still play a little bit, but also make sure we stuck the landing. Because that's the thing we've been holding on to the entire time. Let's make sure that by deciding to go one more season, we don't ruin this beautiful story that we've been telling, and not get the exact right endpoint that we want to get to. That's always a good thing to hear, because with the fan base of Lucifer wanting a satisfying ending to these characters and stories, it's good to know that the crew worked hard to fulfill that request. Number 1. Release date. When? So that, in a nutshell, is the main question fans are asking. The good news is, shooting on Season 6 is done. It's now in post-production and localization in regards to Netflix translating everything for other countries to watch. But how long that takes is a bit hard to pinpoint. Plus, even when they're done, it'll depend on Netflix as to when it releases. At present, Netflix is teasing a lot of shows for the end of 2021, including Cobra Kai Season 4, The Witcher Season 2, and more. So it's possible that they'll go and put it into those late 2021, early 2022 months. Or they could pull a swerve and release it before all of those come out. We'll have to wait and see. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at Lucifer Season 6 and how 5B will help steer the season towards its true finale? Are you shocked at all that happened within the season that was? What do you personally hope happens in Lucifer Season 6? Just as important, when do you think it'll air? Let us know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.